Hi and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. As you can see, I'm out of the studio at the moment. I'm actually sat in Heathrow Airport, early flight today. I'm on my way to Greece today, and you know what? What's going to be really interesting when I land in Greece is, first of all, I'm going to try and see if I can get my Greek friends to get me to learn how to pronounce Socrates' surname, which I'm not even going to attempt right now. And then secondly, I'm going to be asking them a lot of questions about Socrates, because it's looking like this is getting closer and closer. May even be announced whilst I'm up in the air. It looks like he's definitely coming in, the 29-year-old. We've been speaking about it for weeks and weeks here, Socrates. And as I've said, and I'll catch up with my Greek friends to find out when I get out there, that I'm a little bit underwhelmed. You know, don't get me wrong, sometimes these sort of signings, if it happens, these sort of signings are the signings that sometimes you're a bit underwhelmed by, and they can turn out to be very good signings. He is a very experienced player at Borussia Dortmund. He's a solid pro. He brings a lot of experience. I think he was a captain at many stages at Dortmund. So he's a very, very experienced and wily character. However, I don't know. I just look on it and say, is Socrates in our defence the sort of guy that's going to take our defence to the next level, which is what I want to see our defence go to? Is he better than what we've got at the moment? Is he better than Mustafi? Is he better than Koscielny? I don't know, you know, but I could be wrong. I don't want to judge him too much because, as I said, sometimes these sort of really experienced players are good to have in the squad, and it's what they bring and that solidity. And all right, maybe he's not the quickest in the world, but he'll be able to show the other players, especially guys like Chambers and Holding, and improve them. So it is looking likely like that's going to happen, but you know, we'll find out very, very soon. As I said, what I was hearing at the start of the week, that it was certain that it was going to get announced this week, but as of yet, nothing yet, unless maybe whilst I'm up in the air it happens. But Socrates does look like he's coming in to Arsenal. Now, what about Ousmane Dembele? Now, I've spoken about this a couple of times on the show. Every time I speak about it, I finish the show and I think, Robbie, are you being deluded here? Ousmane Dembele, who was bought by, you know, Barcelona for over £100 million. Why the hell, number one, would he want to come to Arsenal? And number two, where are we going to get the money from to buy him? And there's lots of rumours in the papers today linking him with a move to Liverpool, saying that Liverpool will be willing to pay that amount of money to bring him in. Certainly, he's a brilliant player. He hasn't had the best of times since he's been at Barcelona. It's a hard team to fit into. He's a very young guy. Only 19, 20 years of age, but he is super duper talented. I think you'll see at the World Cup how good this guy is when he's given the freedom to play. And if Arsenal could get their hands on him, he would be perfect. They need a winger right now. We really are lacking in width. He's quick, he's tricky, he scores goals, he creates assists, and he would be absolutely brilliant. And I think the way that it could possibly happen would be as part of a loan deal. Now, and as I said, you know, every time I think about it, I'm like, how can that happen? And I remember the plug said and suggested it a couple of months ago, saying that Arsenal's seriously looking at him. And I was like, why? What? Looking at him for what? Because he's got no chance of signing him. But who knows if it could get done? Certainly, it's starting to look like Barcelona would be willing to let him leave the club, or maybe to see him go out on loan, which I think that would be a more realistic sort of thing when it comes to Arsenal. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Ousmane Dembele, of course, Mislintat signed him when he was at Borussia Dortmund, so Mislintat will know all about him. Mislintat will know how talented he is. So Mislintat, forget Socrates for right now. You know, that would be one that's decent. But if you really want to get players that takes us to the next level, this guy, for me, that's the sort of player we should be getting in. We're also linked today to Gelson Martins. Now, Gelson Martins, a winger, and as I said, it looks like we're looking at wingers right now, and I think that's a very good move because I think we are lacking in that department right now. No real out-and-out winger at Arsenal. Gelson Martins plays for Sporting Lisbon, 23 years of age. It's the publication over in Portugal called Ojo that are saying that Gelson Martins is being linked with a move to Arsenal. I don't really know a lot about him. Again, he's supposed to be a very talented winger. There's supposed to be many other clubs interested in his signature this summer. Sporting Lisbon would be willing to let him go if the fee is right. But Arsenal linked today to Gelson Martins. And as I said, on the Sporting Lisbon thing, William Carvalho, you know what, the other night I was on TalkSport and I was chatting to a Portuguese football expert. And I said to him, I said, listen, on my show the other day I spoke about William Carvalho and how he's just like disappeared off the radar. At one time, Arsenal were really in for him. And I don't know if he's gone off the boil or if he's not good enough, why we're not looking at him at the moment, because I know that Everton are interested in him. And I said to him, I go, is he any good? Do you see him week in, week out in the Portuguese league? Is he any good? And he said to me, Robbie, you know what, when Arsenal and all these other clubs around Europe were looking to sign him, he said he wasn't ready. He was not ready. He was like, and you know, he goes, you saw him when he even played for the national team. He's full of nerves, you know, a bag of nerves, and just wasn't ready. He had the talent but weren't ready. But what he said to me is now he's 26 years of age now, and he is ready now. He is ready for that big move to the Premier League. And he's like, you know, and I asked him, I go, would he suit Arsenal? And he said, most definitely would suit Arsenal. Although he said to me at the moment, the favourites to sign him are Everton. So I don't know if he's got the talent there, and if he's ready. We need a defensive midfielder. Why not move? You know, he's big and imposing. He's a very skillful player, good ball player. But again, not a lot of talk on William Carvalho. But let's see what happens as the window progresses. This is the next interesting one, and this is a French player. Was playing for Lyon, another one off of that Lyon production line. Was bought by Bayern Munich, and I'm talking about Corentin Tolisso. He was bought last year by Bayern Munich for £36.5 million from Lyon. 23, he's had a fantastic season for Bayern Munich. He's in the French squad for the World Cup, and he's a very talented player. It was a bit of a surprise when Bayern bought him last year. You know, a lot of people knew he was a great player, really talented, but a little bit of surprise that Bayern had gone for him. But he's done really well. Now, a bit of a surprising news coming out today that Arsenal are very interested in bringing him to the Emirates. There'd be a fee of around about £65 million. He's an excellent player. He'd be brilliant in that midfield for Arsenal. But I just can't see this one. I mean, it's been reported heavily in the Mirror. There's been rumours circulating over there in France. You know, Unai Emery said to be a massive admirer of him. But I just can't see him, especially after the good season he's had at Bayern. Why would Bayern sell him? You know, I just do not see where this has come from, and I just cannot see it happening. One thing that could happen is another player coming from the French league, and that is Yassine Adli. Spoke about him yesterday, 17 years of age, only a kid. PSG player, and Unai Emery knows him from his time there. And the rumours are getting stronger and stronger that he's going to become an Arsenal player, that he will be not continuing to sign on at Paris Saint-Germain, and he will be leaving them to come to join Arsenal. And what sort of level he comes in at, whether he'll just be a youth team player and then be there to develop, or whether he's a player that could come straight in at, who knows? I really don't know a lot about him. New name to me this week, but it's said to be a really, you know, in all the things I've been reading about him, said to be a really good prospect. Plays for the French youth team, but a prospect, you know. Listen, you've got to buy prospects. It's very important to buy prospects, and I know a lot of times we look on it and Arsenal say, oh, we're always buying all these young players and Rapinus and all these guys, but if you can, and this is what Mislintat and these guys have been bought in for, if you can identify a gem at that sort of age and bring them in, and they're there for a couple of seasons and then they turn out to be something brilliant. I mean, listen, a lot of the players that we're getting linked with today are players that, you know, they've come through the systems of these clubs. Say, for instance, at Sporting Lisbon, and now everybody's looking to buy them for like 50, 60, 70 million pounds, etc. So, you know, it's all about going out there and identifying real top prospects. And this guy is supposed to be one and could be on his way to Arsenal. Now, finally today, this is a really intriguing one. Arsene Wenger, right? I know he's going slightly off topic because he's no longer at Arsenal, but listen, he's still an Arsenal legend, so we can still talk about him. Could Arsene Wenger be on his way to Real Madrid? We saw yesterday that Zinedine Zidane has left Real Madrid after winning the Champions League for the third time. He's decided, he said he wanted a new voice, he said, in the dressing room, which I think, when I heard that, I was like, just what we needed at Arsenal, really. But a lot of people saying, and you know, remember, Wenger's been turned down for the job. Well, sorry, Wenger's turned the job down a couple of times when he's been offered it in the past. Could Wenger end up at Real Madrid? How interesting would that be? You know, Wenger at Madrid goes in there and he's managing all these top players like Ronaldo, Bale. Not an impossible thought. Not an impossible thought. Highly unlikely, but not impossible. But let's see what happens with that one. Listen, thanks for watching the show today. We will be back tomorrow. Transfer Daily will still be broadcasting. For the next couple of days, we're going to be coming from Greece. And I'm going to catch up with some of the guys over there and find out what they think, as I said, about Socrates. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back tomorrow.